Yeah.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the PHDJ podcast with your hosts. I'm Joe Bunn, and my friend Mike Walter is here. What is up, Mike? Pre-recording what is now, this has to be a record, episode number 5 in a row. Is this a record?
We're recording this on February 2nd, and it's not going to drop till what, March something?
It's like early March. I think it's going to come out on March 3rd.
And this time because you're away now this week?
I'm going to Mexico. I'll be in Mexico at a digital marketing conference.
Oh,
Mexico. Is that James Taylor?
That is. James.
Yeah.
Very good.
That's Chapel Hill. That's a North Carolina boy.
I've never really been, but I sure like to go. He's singing a song about a place he's never been to.
Oh, man. All right. So today I was looking back over some topics I kind of had in my notes, and I thought it was relevant, even though the timing is a little bit weird because, anyway, I'm getting ready. It's like Mike said, it's weird talking about
the future.
In the future, but it's really going to be the
it's going
past.
to be the past by the time people hear it. Yeah.
But
into the mobile.
That's right. So
mobile entertainer.
Mobile entertainment experiences, February 21st through the 24th in Las Vegas. So again, we're recording this on Wednesday, February 2nd. I'll be heading to that conference.
So you're missing 1 week because of Mex and then 1 week because of Mexico.
That's true. Yes, facts.
Right.
And Mike's going on vacation and blah, blah, blah. But, and so I'm going to that conference in Las Vegas, and then Mike will be at Midwest DJs Live in April?
I believe April.
Which would be the next conference after that. So it led me thinking, let's see, Midwest DJ Live. I'm just looking it up for our friends over there.
Yes, April 24th.
There we go.
So that would be the Monday and Tuesday. I'm actually, or the 24th is a Sunday. Yeah. And I'm speaking on Monday, the 25th.
Fantastic. So again, that's Midwest DJs with an S live.com. If you want to still get a ticket to that, I'm pretty sure you can.
I was there 3 years ago now.
I was there last year.
In a row, and loved it. I thought it was a fantastic show. I'm super, super excited to come back.
I don't think I'm going to be there, but I was there last year, enjoyed myself. Mike will be there with our friend Todd Powers. So
Todd and I are doing the same seminar, tweaked obviously, but same seminar we did in Atlantic City about staying relevant.
Mm-hmm.
And super excited about that.
It was a great one. Yeah. It was really good. I was on the front row.
Were there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then I'm doing absolutely nothing in Las Vegas other than meeting with DJs. At Mex. Okay. Sorry. What did I call it? Mobile Beat? I didn't mean to. Mex.
Yeah.
I'll be at Mex. I'm speaking not at all, but I will be there.
A seminar. You're not doing anything. Okay.
I'm sold out of DJ booths, so I don't even buy a booth to sell my DJ booths because we're currently between runs, which is a good problem and a bad problem. But I wanted to touch on a couple things before we move into the convention thing. So as you can see, I'm just going to go shake hands, take pictures, kiss babies, have a good time, see my DJ people. Mike's speaking at the one following that. And then there's other opportunities throughout the year. You've got Casey's show, Marquee.
Yeah, let's mention that too. Marquee is June 14th through the 16th. Are you attending that?
I don't think so. Are you? Are you speaking at that too?
I'm doing I'm doing a sales seminar.
A new?
Yeah. Well, it's similar to the one I did at Wedding MBA. But geared there, I spoke to the general population.
That's right.
Here, I'm narrowing it down and making it more DJ specific.
Beautiful. Okay, so Mike will be there, and then the expo, I guess, would be after that.
Atlantic City in August.
And then Wedding MBA would be in November.
I don't think I'm attending that because I'm pretty sure I'm going to the Collective. So, and I'm not going to go to the So I'm going to go to Collective, which is the week before. I mean, it's hard to choose Nashville over Vegas, but I think I will.
Anyway. The DJCollectiveOfficial.com. So that's the conference I do with Jason Janai and Brian Bonacisi. So you got a lot of opportunities to get out there. And before we get into, that's one part of this
face-to-face conventions that we're attending, or one of us is attending. Pardon me, that is coming up. But there are other things.
What, Mike, and I see a lot of your post. I see all your posts, but I'm always envious of two things. Actually, mainly one is your reading. I love to read. I used to read all the time. You read a lot, and I'm always envious of that. So that was one thing I wanted to touch on. Are there any books that you've read or are going to read or are on your list to read that have helped you? And I know you read all sorts of books. You read fiction, nonfiction, that have helped you in your business. And then the second part of that would be, if not books, what are some other resources that have helped you in your business?
So, yeah, I do read a lot, but I don't read a lot of business books. I don't read a lot of self-help books or, motivational kind of books. When I read, it's my escape.
Yeah.
I read a lot of fiction that just, pulls me away from reality, and I can dive into another world, or biographies. I love interesting biographies of people. A lot of times they're musicians, but not always. So those are the two genres that I really focus on when I read.
Yeah.
But I will say this: Alan Berg has written a number of books that I've read. I think are fantastic for selling.
Shout out Alan Berg.
And you can find those at alanberg.com. Alan's been a guest on the show.
And it's BERG. Sorry.
Mitch Taylor also wrote a book that I think should be required reading for everybody in our industry.
Ditto.
And it's called Sales for the number 4 Event Pros. I'm looking at it right now on Amazon. You can pick it up on Amazon. You can probably find it on his specific website too if you Google that. But yeah, I mean, if you ask me for one specific, if you said to me, what's one book that you can hand to somebody in our industry that's going to help them out, I think it would be Mitch Taylor's, because it's just like Alan Berg's, but I just love Mitch's book. It's geared really about selling to people to brides and grooms.
So I'll echo what Mike said. When I do read, it's usually on vacation, and it was usually who's my guy? James Patterson. It was some fictional story, whatever, murder, mystery, crime, drama, whatever. I get sent a lot of books. Definitely read Mitch's book. Excellent. Alan Berg's book. He sent me those. I've read those. Mike's book. It's just kind of that one-off trivia type thing on this date in music.com, by the way, OTDIM.com for your shortcutters. And even Marcello's book. Remember that? What was it?
Yes.
Celebrate Life. That was a good one.
Yep.
So I know I'm kind of just mentioning a bunch of DJ type books, but those were all critical. But I will tell you another one recommended by a DJ and also somebody that used to kind of work for the company that really helped me a lot as somebody that is really good at making money, not so great with saving it, is Profit First.
Oh, I love that. Yes.
Mike Michalowicz, I believe his name is. Jason Spencer turned me on to him 5 years ago, maybe longer. Excellent book. Not a difficult read, not super thick. Well written.
If you are like Joe just described, great at making money, but then at the end of the month you go, where did it all go? Profit First is great at helping you organize your money and be aware of where you're spending it. Not
commingling accounts and things that may seem like common sense but aren't.
Yeah.
I'm very creative and I am a good business person, but I used to be a hot mess with money, put it that way. And so I've gotten a lot better over the past 10 years. So, and then, I'm in the middle of reading a book now, which has been a long time since I've read one. And I want to shout out Richie, our show producer, for sending it to me for Christmas, Shoe Dog, Phil Knight's book. The guy that started.
I love that book.
Did you live it?
A number of years ago.
Yeah.
That is such a great book.
As a business owner that tries to do a lot of things that seem kind of grand sometimes. Oh man, I've got a product, I'm looking at this picture behind me like a DJ booth, but I'm like, holy shit, man. This guy started a multi-billion-dollar global company from selling sneakers he was importing from Japan. And then it's so good, and I'm only halfway through it, so I can't even imagine what's coming. This is pre them even. He just came up with the term Nike, or the first football shoe or cleat that they made, it sounds like. But I'm just there, so super excited to finish
what
that.
I loved about that book is it was great. It was a great story about him building Nike and building the business.
Yeah.
But it was also like a travel log because he talks so in depth about the places that he visited.
Yes. Especially as a young man.
Early in the book, he later references going back to Japan and how much it had changed from his first couple of trips there. It was really, I love that book. I remember the year I read that. I usually at the end of the year list like my top 5 books of the year.
Yeah.
And that was definitely one of my top 5.
Fantastic. Good. Well, I'm going to finish that. So, but ironically, everybody knows if you listen to the show, I don't listen to this show. I've never listened to an episode back. Mike, are you a podcast listener?
I'm not a huge podcast listener. But I do listen from time to time.
Yeah.
And I'll give a shout out to Alex Nepa. I listen to his problem. Other than our podcast, which I do listen to every week when it drops, I probably listen to Alex Nepa's. It's called Sips and Ish.
That's right. Yeah.
Short for Sips and Shit. He had me on very early on, which I thought was fun. He basically got me wasted while he interviewed me.
Same.
Which it's a great technique on his part. You want somebody to open up, give him a couple of pops, and you know what I mean?
Yep.
So I listen to Alex's a lot.
Yeah.
I also listen to Kristen Wilson, who I know you know from the Collective.
Yep, I've listened to her a couple of times.
She started a podcast a while ago called
Love Lead Excel.
Lead Excel.
Yep.
So shout out to Kristen. I really love that podcast. And I also, and this is just a shout out to our most frequent guest, Dave Lander. Anytime Dave is on a podcast, I listen to it because Dave brings the knowledge wherever he goes. He talked about it when he was on our podcast a few months ago.
Yeah,
he thinks the main reason is that he actually puts in some preparation, which you'd be surprised. You'd think every guest would do that. Not all do. But yeah, Dave. If I see somebody share a podcast, hey, I had Dave Lander on. Boom, I'm listening to it.
I'll also shout out our friend Brian Bunn of CC. It's called.
I forget. Brian, definitely.
Smart. Oh my God. In fact, I've got him on in 2 hours on a webinar for the Vault. The Travel Blend
There's no
DJ.
point teasing that now, Joe, because that's a month ago.
Jesus.
So, there's no point.
Doc, I need a DeLorean. Right. Can I get in my DeLorean and go back? Okay. Anyway, Brian B podcast is not it does come out pretty regularly. The Travel Blend DJ, and then our friends Drew Pierce and Fusemania from
I haven't the only one I listened to was when Lander was on, and I need to get into that.
Mine was good. Go listen to mine. Mine was a good episode. Drew and Fuse show. The Drew and Fuse show. That's a good one. Man, Spider has a podcast. There's one I've listened to that Brian B sends me.
Also shout out to Alan Berg because I have listened to a few of his.
Alan's got a great one.
Really
Super. The smartest thing Alan did was super succinct. Man, I'm killing it with the vocabulary today.
A few weeks ago and succinct, very good.
Alan does really short, insightful, smart podcasts. There was one more I was going to mention. A Road. It's called Reflection of a DJ. ROAD. R.O.A.D. Go listen to that, Mike. There's a few really good episodes on there. But anyway, any other resources you want to mention before we kind of just briefly touch on what when you go to a DJ convention this year? Because I'm basically mandating.
The only other resource I would mention is our Facebook pages. And you can spend a lot of time and waste a lot of time, and sometimes there are meaningless arguments that are stupid and
shitty trolls.
But also, people who listen to this podcast know I cull those to get ideas for future shows often. But I also, guys that I follow, or guys or gals that I follow that I think are just so super knowledgeable. Jim Cerrone is one of those. I'm constantly looking at Jim's post. I think he created a site about playlists. I forget the name of it. I'm trying to look on Facebook right now, but that's a great one. I'm killing time while I look.
No. Is does
playlist? I think it's called DJ Playlist Work Group. I think that's the one where Jim posts constantly in there. Your vault pages are phenomenal for conversations started.
Thanks.
we don't get a lot of conversation started on ours, but we have a PHDJ podcast discussion group.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say that social media, specifically Facebook, is another resource.
I agree with that 100%, Mike. And so just as we were started the show with, by the way, the main thing I don't want you guys to get sucked into before I move off this Facebook thing is, number one, choose the groups that you want to be in. Don't get sucked into the ones that are full of trolls and hatred. You know, I feel like, and I'm not just saying this as a membership site. It is a monthly fee to be a member of the DJ's Vault. But that, 1,200 people we have in that Facebook group is very controlled. No post can go through without coming through me. I personally moderate it. There's been, knock on wood, here we are 3 years almost to the day when I started it, and it has been troll free. I don't think I've had to ban anybody. I think I've had to reprimand maybe 1-2 people. No conversation's ever gotten out of control. It's a dark world out there, especially if you're somebody like me that spends a fortune on Facebook advertising. I keep a log of the shit people say about me. I was just going through, and so my point is, let stuff like this. This is a exact quote.
Is this like
it's like
people read mean tweets?
Yeah, mean tweets.
Right.
There is no blueprint for being a DJ. There's no Bible, and really all you're teaching is for how to kiss ass, spam people, and be a sellout with no integrity. Congrats for being an example of the shitty side of DJ culture.
Wow.
Thanks, Tim.
And that was written specifically
directly under one of my ads. Like, okay. Thanks,
yeah,
Tim.
you have to have a thick skin.
You gotta have thick skin.
Yeah.
And I do, and I save those, and I'm coming after you.
Yeah,
anyway.
I mean, listen, I think social media is like that, whether it's specific for business or just in general. I think there's some great things about social media, and then I think there's some really horrible, shitty, evil things about social media. If you don't have a thick enough skin, you probably shouldn't venture into the game. But if you can differentiate between the two, and you can shoulder brush people like that aside.
Yep.
And I know you can. I know you're strong enough to do that, Joe. And listen, if people like that motivate you, good. That's good. There's nothing wrong with that.
Nope, I don't think.
I don't think you need the motivation. I think you're a pretty fucking motivated guy as it is. But if you roll up your sleeves a little bit harder and go, I'm going to prove you even wronger. There's nothing wrong with that.
Thank you, man.
By the way, wrong, not wronger.
Wronger. Yeah, I like wronger. It sounds funny.
I know.
So lastly, just real quick, Mike, just give your top couple of tips for getting the most out of a DJ conference as we wrap up this 5th episode of the day.
Yeah, listen, I know the criticism about DJ conferences is for the new people who go, they feel like it's the old boys club. And I've heard that criticism a million times. And I get it. Going back 25 years when I first started going to conventions and nobody knew me and it was hard to be, how do I break in? These guys are having this conversation and you can tell they're all friendly and they all go back. How can I possibly... Well, part one was I started getting involved. I started offering seminars even before, breaking through. And I'll never forget my very first seminar out in San Francisco for DJ Times. I gave it. I'm sure if I look back on it today, I was horrible. I've come a long way presenting seminars, but a guy who had become a dear friend of mine, Miles Gilbert from Arizona, approached me right after I gave that seminar, and he said, you sound like you know what you're talking about. How about we do a dinner tonight? And that was to steal the line from Casablanca. That was the beginning of a beautiful friendship. So part of it is, if you want to break in, maybe get yourself involved somehow. Instead of, maybe you can do a seminar right away, but maybe you can get yourself on a panel or get involved in some kind of discussion. But the other part is, kind of like what Miles did with me, is sometimes you just have to walk up to a stranger and say, hey man, let's go for a drink, or let's have lunch, or can you carve out 15 minutes of your time this week? Because I'd love to chat with you and network with you a little bit. Joe, I have that happen to me all the time at conventions. And if I come across like I'm a star at a convention, I don't mean to, but there are plenty of times where I will sit with somebody I've never met before and go, yeah, let's talk, because I love meeting people in our industry. So, and you're the same way. And I think most of the people who speak and are involved in these shows are the same way. So stop feeling like, oh, I can't crack into that. You can, if you really want to.
Please don't come up to us. Do not be starstruck. I wanna sit down with you. I want to get coffee. Are other people going to be there? Maybe, probably. But let's go hang out. Let's go talk. Like, let's just make it spontaneous. You just it's not the time to be passive. It is the time to go up, introduce yourself. If there's a circle of guys standing there talking.
Yes, and this is where Joe thought I hated him once. if you hit me 15 minutes before I'm about to present a seminar, you're not going to get 2 minutes of my time. I probably won't even recognize you. And that is where Joe, I don't even know to this day if he's ever forgiven me for that.
It shook me.
Hired me for consultation, so I had spent a whole day with Joe Bunn, and I saw him in Atlantic City, and he said hello, and I probably nodded my head like, yeah, who the hell are you? But again, I was 15
It didn't help that I was with my homeboys. Yeah, and they're screaming at me. Yeah, I go, yo, I know Mike Walter, and they're like,
time and a place, and that was not a good time. Don't hit any, and I'm not just talking about myself. I'm sure Joe would say the same thing. 15 minutes before you're about to hit stage, if you walk up to us and say, hey man, can I get 10 minutes of your time? You're probably going to get a blank stare. I mean, even my wife says to me, I hate the week before you're about to present a seminar, because she knows I might be talking to you, but I might be in rehearsal mode.
Yeah, right.
So 15 minutes before is definitely the wrong time.
He sees his pretty wife here, but then he's got his slides over in this bigger part of his brain.
Exactly.
Take your cards, exchange cards. I love this new thing. Mike, I don't know if you're using these digital cards where you just tap it on somebody's phone now. So this is LINQ. You literally just take the card, walk up to their phone, tap it, and all your contact information goes to their phone. So
okay.
LINQ. I don't really make anything from this, but it really works well.
So I didn't know about that, but I did. One of the tips I picked up at the last DJ collective that I attended 3 years ago now was I have a contact in my phone that is me.
Yeah.
And I have a picture, I have all of my information, my email address, my website. And so when I meet somebody at a convention, I can just share that contact to them, and then they automatically have it.
Very similar to this.
Yeah.
And obviously you don't give this away, you just keep this in your wallet. So
so you just need one of those.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, and just last plug, I think I'm going to get, when the season restarts, I'm going to get these for all the guys. It was like a low fee a month for all the DJs, and then I can track like really because I can see how many scans they do and stuff like that. Like I can track the analytics. Yeah, it's kind of cool.
Listen, one other tip about getting to know people at a convention is if you do attend a convention with a couple of your, like you just said, homies, that sometimes can be a detriment, because we tend to go, you know what, I'll just hang out with these guys because I know that there's no point in meeting new people. So sometimes it's good to just attend a convention by yourself or separate.
Yeah.
Hey guys, you know what? You're going to lunch now? I'm not going to go to lunch. I'm going to walk the showroom floor.
Sure.
Because I think it's human nature to go, well, why do I need to meet people? Because I got these three buddies with me. So that it can, and again, it takes a little bit of guts balls to walk up to a stranger and say. But sometimes you got to move away from the guys and gals to get to know other people.
Great point. I was at Midwest DJs Live was set up as tables, like 8 or 10 tops last year. Yeah. And I was with the Crate Hackers. I was with Aaron and Dominic, and I was like, I'm gonna go sit at number 6, and y'all sit at 8 and 10.
There you go.
Like we legitimately, purposefully went to different tables and I made some new connections. So anyway, we hope to see you out on the streets or at one of these conventions, and hopefully you guys got a little something out of this episode. Mike, we did it.
We've recorded 5 episodes on the morning of February 2nd. So are you telling me next week? And P.S. Richie, we don't have a teaser.
No teaser.
This is now 5 weeks away. But so you're telling me next week, March 9th, we will be together live.
I was double checking that.
I'm not traveling.
No, I am going somewhere. I'm going to see.
I don't have time to do a 6th episode.
I don't either. But I'm going somewhere the 7th and 8th. I'll be back the 9th.
Okay, great. Good. Very good. Well,
Thanks, everybody.
And before we went to hit record, Joe and I, on a personal note, we're not going to spend 5 weeks not talking. We will
That's
connect.
correct.
FaceTime with you at some point from Jamaica, and you do the same when you're in
Mexico. Yes, that's actually a great goal.
Which beach looks nicer? That's
right. Who's got the bluest water? How about that?
Yeah.
Fantastic, everybody. Thank you.
All right, everybody.